Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Marduna, this is my mom Gina.
He is the journalist.
And she's the enthusiast.
I'm enthusiastic because it's kind of getting to be winter again. And I was confused before.
It is definitely that.
Our last show was hot. Now we're out here
80 degrees and now it's in the 50s and declining.
And
so that's a little frustrating because we do our show outside, and so we're trying to temper ourselves with the right clothing and making sure we're not freezing, but not too hot.
Has their hands full trying
it's
to
just
keep
crazy
us
how
out
it's been these last couple weeks here in the month of February. Well, we are going to talk about something a little interesting today. This is more of just a general topic within athletics and sports, but it is important, and we need to bring it up because this is a topic that deals with gender equality and gender fairness within men's and women's sports, and how women's sports are portrayed, how men's sports are portrayed within America, really, and all over the world, but generally just in all sports, gender equality. And so right now, I want to bring up an issue that took place really just yesterday or the day before yesterday. This is something that happened with Jameis Winston. Now, he's kind of had a sketchy past with some of the things that have happened with him back at college and Florida State. We all kind of know some of the things that happened with him, spewing out things about women and things like that. I think he just falls to the category of being a knucklehead or a young man that's just not really in his right mind all the time. Exactly. He's a great talent. Exactly. I think that's a good way to say it. But sometimes he says things that you know he probably didn't mean, but he still said them, and so you're kind of like, what did you just say? So
well, let's tell the people
what happened was that he was on a school tour at an elementary school, and that's really great for all the NFL players and NFL franchises to do. They branch out to the young kids, and they reach the young demographics that way. And he was trying to basically give a motivational speech about putting your mind to anything. You can do whatever you want to. If your mind's
and he included it being strong.
Yeah, so being strong. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And just kind of the mind over matter situation. And I really like it's a great message to instill into young people, because the world is hard. And if you don't have confidence and if you don't believe in yourself, it can be really hard on you. And so what he did was that he was trying to reach the young men, the young boys in the room, and say, hey, listen up, young fellas, young men. There will be a time in your life where you need to really stand up and be boisterous about the things that you want to do, and men need to be strong and be loud and proud. And what he said was, hey, young boys, stand up, stand up. And I think what happened was a lot of the kids, and this is little girls and boys, this is like a third grade class probably, and I think a multitude of kids were standing up, but he was trying to just reach the boys of that classroom. And so what he said was, hey, young girls, sit down. The girls are supposed to be silent and quiet and polite and nice. And the boys are supposed to be strong and loud, and your voice is going to drop, and you're going to say, I can put my mind, if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And he was trying to give a motivational speech to the young men of the room. But what he ended up saying was, what he didn't realize is what he was saying was he was basically putting down the young girls by saying, young girls, sit down and be silent and look pretty in the corner, is kind of what it came off as, instead of, hey, women have a voice, young girls have a voice, and women power is just as important as men power as well. And so it just really was a bad look for someone that's trying to really be in the right limelight, if you will. And so he's a quarterback, he's a franchise quarterback, he's got a lot of growth still, he's 23 years old. I'm not trying to excuse him, but I think the whole situation was just like, man, that's probably not something you would have said if you could redo it again. So I know you kind of have some thoughts on this situation. I definitely want to hear what you have to say, but it definitely wasn't a good look for Jameis.
Well, I'm going to start by defending Jameis, because I want to honor any man, especially a young black man. Jameis Winston's 23 years old, who is now a multimillionaire carrying a billion-dollar franchise on his back, after he carried basically a several $100 million franchise at FSU on his back. And he could be the kind of guy that's like, no, I don't do public appearances.
Sure.
He is going back into the community, and to walk into an elementary school, which I have done as a volunteer, you've done now that you're an adult as a volunteer, and spend any time with young children, he should be applauded for that. So I want to say that. And what he was saying was a message about faith, family, and education.
Yeah.
But what he was trying to get the kids to do this cheer, you know, I am strong and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he felt like the boys needed to be really elevated. I'm going to say this. I don't disagree with that. Especially as I looked at the video, the classroom was full of young African-American boys.
Yeah.
Men of color in this country have been so denigrated, and I know we've elected our first African-American president back to back. Things are so much better today than they have been in the past, all of that. But the fact of the matter is young black men are getting incarcerated at quadruple the rates of anybody else, including Hispanics, which is 3 times the rate of white men. Black men don't graduate from high school at ridiculous rates. A lot of them don't make it to their 18th birthday. And then when they are in the community, where are the other young black men to teach them how to be strong black men?
Sure.
So I want to applaud Jameis Winston for walking into that classroom and, quite frankly, for singling out the boys and giving them a message. My issue was where he did it, when he did it, and how he did it. Because I think it would have been great if he came in and said, hey, I'm bringing in a strong, powerful woman with me, my girl, my wife, my mom, my mentor, and we're going to split the kids up, and they're going to give a strong empowerment message to the girls. I'm going to give a strong empowerment message to the boys, and we're going to bring all the kids together, and we're going to do our We Are Strong Together kind of thing. There's lots of ways to do that.
Yeah.
And what he did was, in the moment, he looked at these young little boys that probably reminded him of himself.
Of course,
and he wanted to show
so.
you are strong and you are powerful. Unfortunately, there was a little girl in the room who turned to her teacher and said, I'm strong too. And so the unintended consequence was that he gave the message to the girls that, hey, sit down, be quiet, you're not as good as.
Right.
And that was the problem. And I think that this is a problem not just in that classroom, clearly not just in sports, but in this country.
Sure.
And 100%. I have a rant to go on, but I just want to toss it back to you because I have more to say.
I definitely would agree. The way that the climate of who our newly elected president is, some of the things that he has said, which has been extremely offensive to women, makes it so that the comments that Jameis Winston just said, even though that's not Jameis Winston's intent by any means, the climate of which we are in right now because of our newly elected, it is, everyone has to be sensitive to things like that that are said. And so it was just an unfortunate thing because, again, like I said, that was not the intent, was to put down little girls. He saw probably a couple of, well, I guess the report was that there was a little boy that wasn't engaging into him. And so he was just trying to get the attention of the boys in the room. So he was going off the cuff anyway. And he just said, hey, I'm going to get them engaged by standing them up and really get them going. And so he was trying to focus on the boys and not quite so much on the girls. And so he said that, but it just didn't come across the way that it looked, so how he was intending. Again,
Jameis Winston is closer to a unicorn than he is the norm. He is a young, no, seriously, he's a young African-American
really good way to
who made it to the age of 23 through college and is now a millionaire doing a profession that he loves.
Correct.
As the quarterback. So that's a lot of pressure. Bottom line is I went with your grandmother, 2 strong, powerful black women, if I do say so myself, and we watched the movie Hidden Figures. And I think part of the issue for women, and I'm just speaking for, I'm going to say it, is that not only were there women at NASA, what happened there were black women at NASA, and the black women, 3 of them, one of them learned how to program the first IBM that NASA ever had, a black woman, and brought a team of programmers with her. The other one is the one that fixed the launch codes and the launch issues and the re-entry issues so that our astronauts didn't burn up when they came back in from being in outer space. The thing is, what history told us, all women and black people specifically, was that white male engineers sent a white male into space.
Right.
We have got to break down all of that because history was not telling us the truth.
Right.
That was a lie to begin with. And now we're in a position where we still have to now tell each other the truth, which is we are all strong. We are all powerful. We all have something to offer. And it's important for all of our young kids to believe in themselves.
Right.
So that's just got to be the message when we're out talking to babies. And each other.
Exactly. And I think he will definitely have someone go. Yeah, exactly. He'll have some more practice at it after this round. Now, there is something that we do kind of want to bring it up that now that we still are on the topic of gender equality or gender within sports. You have kind of an interesting take on the UConn women's basketball team when it comes to them on this extremely long, amazing win streak. When it comes to them and how they're winning versus if it was a men's team and if they had the exact same record and how they were winning. I'm interested and intrigued, and I want you to tell the people kind of what your thoughts are on this as it pertains to the topic of gender equality and how that reflects athletics as we kind of close the show here?
Well, I want to give people a quick behind-the-scenes look at On the Deck. I don't get to make the decisions. It's Adam's show. He literally is the journalist, and I have been asking for this topic for months, back when UConn had like 85 wins and 90 wins. Here's all I'm going to say. I'm very proud of those young women who are doing amazing things and setting records and showing how to win with excellence. And really, if it weren't for a last-second loss to Stanford, they would really be at about 150 wins at this point. My issue is that that program is so dominant. They're winning by 40, 50, 60, one game 70 points. And no one's raising an eyebrow. Every now and then you get some applause. Oh, here's now they're on SportsCenter, so we're all happy about that. But if this were a men's program, they would, reporters from every walk of life, from bloggers to SportsCenter, everybody else would be going, what's going on in that program? There's cheating, there's something. How is that happening? But because it's a women's program, I think it's kind of a reverse sexism. That's like, oh, they're over there clearly doing something unusual, but yay, good for them. If this was Duke or Kentucky or Louisville or KU or anybody else that has won 102 straight games with no competition, we would have reporters digging through there with a fine-tooth comb. But because it's the girls, we'll just congratulate you on,
so you're saying that, yeah, you know, if it was a Michigan State going on a big run, they're
anybody
on a 50 or 60 game win streak, someone would find a way to say a booster paid this kid, or there was some recruiting violations somewhere. But because it's the women, it's not so much of a big deal, because it's like, well, we're happy for them. There's probably not anything going on.
It's paternalism. It used to happen to black folks, where you excuse people's poor behavior. And not saying that winning is poor behavior, but you excuse behavior or ignore behavior because, oh, well, they're just little anyway. I'm happy UConn women are doing that, and it's getting national attention and more people watch that. But I'm just saying, my eyebrows are up. Because Gino Auriemma, as good as he is not that much better than Don Staley. He's not that much better than Kim Mulkey. He's not that much better than the late, great Pat. What was Pat? Pat Summitt.
Yes.
There's something going on that he can't lose, that he's beating top 20 competition by 40 points. I hope it's a clean program. All I'm saying is, why aren't the women being treated with the same scrutiny? Ole Miss is in trouble right now because they had a good year with Ndici, and everybody's doing investigations.
For football,
for football. I know it's different,
but you're saying, exactly. The same level of scrutiny, or high standards of whatever is going on for the men's side needs to hold true to the women as well. And like you said, that reverse sexism is going on.
It is. And I think other women coaches are sitting there going, what the heck? I've recruited top 10 players. I had Brittany Griner, or I had this or that, you know, but no one is saying anything. So I'm just simply saying it still exists, that if girls are doing something, it's like, well, good for you, girls, instead of holding them to a high level of accountability and scrutiny. So that's my point in this.
No, I think it's a great point, and I know you're not saying, hey, UConn is needs to be thrown out, but I do think that there's something to be said for that.
No eyebrows are raised at all. He just can't lose. He's winning 50 points every game. Come on. If this was a men's program, I don't care if it was Coach K or who it was, they'd be climbing through that program.
Well, you never know. Something may come up later on down the road. So we'll see.
We are breaking news. We got on.
We just want to say we want to appreciate your time. We appreciate your time, and we will see you next time, folks.